Hey everyone, welcome back to Andy and Anna Talks, your weekly shot of clarity in a world full of chaos. Today's episode is a big one. Some might even say explosive. We're diving into the latest India-Pakistan tensions in 2025 and asking the million-dollar question: could this actually trigger World War III?
It's definitely a question on many minds right now. And yeah, for good reason. I mean, the history alone tells you we need to pay close attention.
Exactly.
Our goal today really is to break down what's happening now, maybe unpack some of that history quickly for context, and then really get into the factors that could, keep this contained or, well, worst case, see it escalate.
Right. We're not trying to be alarmist here, but we do want to understand the real dynamics. Maybe grab some chai or coffee. Could be one of those conversations.
Might need it.
Okay, so let's dive in. What exactly is happening right now in 2025 between India and Pakistan that's got everyone so concerned?
Well, the immediate spark seems to be a pretty significant border skirmish in Kashmir. And this wasn't just, a minor exchange of fire.
More serious.
Yeah, we're hearing reports of drone strikes, followed by really quite heavy retaliatory artillery from both sides. That level of engagement, it's a definite step up from the usual border incidents.
And the technology involved is adding another layer of worry, isn't it? Things like AI-enhanced surveillance drones, automated defense systems. That sounds pretty advanced.
It really is, and it changes things. Think of these AI drones, they aren't just cameras anymore. They're analyzing data on the fly, potentially identifying targets with minimal human oversight.
Yeah.
And automated defenses, maybe radar-guided weapons, they might react almost instantly to perceived threats. That speed, it introduces new risks. Miscalculation becomes easier.
Right, so it's not just about troop numbers anymore.
Right.
And then complicating things even further, there are reports of information blackouts in parts of Kashmir.
Yeah, and that's always concerning. It creates this vacuum. Rumors can spread like wildfire, making things even more tense on the ground.
And meanwhile, online, it's the opposite.
Exactly. Social media in both India and Pakistan is apparently just exploding. Hashtags like hashtag justice for soldiers, hashtag stop the war.
Yep.
They're trending massively.
So you've got this intense online activity fueled by nationalism, probably, alongside an information blackout in the actual conflict zone.
It really highlights the deep emotions, the national pride involved.
Yeah.
Like two digital armies rallying support while facts on the ground are hard to come by.
Okay, so summarizing the immediate situation: advanced tech in play, limited verified information, and emotions running extremely high. Doesn't exactly sound stable.
Not really. It's a very volatile mix. The risk of, someone misinterpreting something or an accident happening, it feels significantly higher.
Now, for listeners maybe less familiar, this tension isn't new. This goes way back, right, to the partition in 1947?
Oh, absolutely. That's the root. The partition of British India, it was incredibly traumatic. Violence, displacement, it left this legacy of unresolved issues and deep mistrust that's still playing out today.
And Kashmir's always been at the absolute center of it. Like, this piece of land both sides feel is rightfully theirs.
Precisely. It's symbolic. It represents competing ideas of nationhood, of territory. The fact it was divided but never fully settled politically, it's just remained this constant flashpoint, kind of like a terrible custody battle that's gone on for, nearly 80 years.
Wow. And both control different parts.
Yes, and neither is willing to budge on their claim to the whole thing.
And layered on top of that, you've got decades of political sniping, massive military buildups, and the game changer.
Yeah.
Both have nuclear weapons.
That changes everything. The constant tension fueled an arms race, and then came the nuclear tests in the late 90s. Suddenly, even small skirmishes carry this almost unthinkable risk.
And it's not just strategic, is it? It's deeply emotional. Nationalism, religion, history, it's personal for millions.
You've hit it exactly. It's tied up in national stories, religious identity, memories of past wars, perceived wrongs. That emotional depth makes finding purely rational solutions incredibly difficult.
Which leads us straight to the nuclear question. India has stated a no first-use policy. Pakistan's stance, a bit more ambiguous.
That difference is pretty key. India says essentially, we won't use nukes unless nuked first. Pakistan's position is less clear-cut, often seen as a deterrent against even a massive conventional attack that threatens its existence. They call it credible minimum deterrence.
So ambiguity is a strategy.
In a way, yes, but that ambiguity itself is risky, isn't it? Especially when things escalate quickly. Imagine misinterpreting a huge cyber attack or maybe a large drone swarm as the start of a full-on invasion.
Right. If you don't have that clear no first use from the other side, The pressure to act first, maybe preemptively, could be immense in a crisis.
Exactly, especially with these new technologies compressing decision times.
This is where that phrase, fog of war, gets even foggier, perhaps. Add AI into the mix, making decisions at machine speed.
It definitely intensifies it. AI can process data incredibly fast, sure, but it lacks human judgment, intuition, the ability to read intent beyond the code.
Could it make a catastrophic mistake based on flawed data?
That's the nightmare scenario. An algorithm escalating things faster than humans can intervene or understand what's happening. It's a sobering thought.
Okay, but let's pull back slightly. Both sides know this risk exists, right? They have hotlines, back-channel talks. The world is watching.
That's the crucial counterweight, yes. The sheer horror of nuclear war means mechanisms do exist for de-escalation. Hotlines, diplomatic contacts, they're there. And the intense international spotlight, whenever things flare up, definitely acts as a restraint.
So back to the big question we started with, this current situation. Could it genuinely spark World War III? What's the realistic assessment?
Realistically, the immediate chance of this specific conflict directly causing a global war involving, say, the US and Russia or China in direct combat, that still seems low. The core fight is bilateral, India-Pakistan.
There's always a but, isn't there? There are ways it could spiral. If other major players get dragged in,
That's the real danger zone. It's less about this being the direct trigger and more about how it could entangle other powers with interests in the region.
like China, obviously, with its close ties to Pakistan and its own border issues with India.
Absolutely, China's a huge factor. Then there's the US, with its own strategic partnerships and counterterrorism goals. Regional players too, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Russia. They all have stakes in regional stability or instability.
And alliances like NATO. Probably not direct involvement, but maybe indirectly,
Right.
if terrorism linked to the conflict spilled over.
It's hard to see direct NATO military action right now. That seems very unlikely. But you raised a good point earlier. It's less like chess, more like Jenga.
Yeah, the Jenga tower analogy feels right. Everything's connected. You pull one piece out, even a regional one, and you risk unforeseen consequences, maybe the whole structure wobbling.
Exactly. The interconnectedness of security, of economies, it means even regional fights can ripple outwards in unpredictable ways.
So the current read. Dangerous regional conflict for now. The main immediate risks are what? Miscalculation, uncontrolled escalation, rogue actors.
I think that sums it up well. Miscalculation driven by tech or bad intel, escalation that spirals faster than diplomacy can cope, or maybe extremist groups trying to pour fuel on the fire. Those feel like the most pressing dangers right now.
And even short of World War III, the economic fallout is real, isn't it? We've seen markets twitch already.
Oh, definitely. Asian stocks dipped, oil prices ticked up. Just on the rumors of instability, financial markets hate uncertainty, especially in such a key region.
And imagine if shipping lanes near Pakistan were threatened. That hits global trade.
It absolutely could. Supply chains are fragile. Any disruption in major sea lanes has knock-on effects everywhere.
And for India itself, with its huge economy, a serious conflict means diverting massive resources, scaring off investors, potentially facing sanctions.
It would be a huge economic shock for India. It could derail growth, impact development spending. Investor confidence is crucial, and conflict erodes that quickly. International pressure, like sanctions, would depend heavily on how things unfolded, but it's a possibility.
Plus, neither country is swimming in cash, relatively speaking. They're still developing economies. War is incredibly expensive.
Hugely expensive. And the costs aren't just military hardware. Think about inflation, potential food shortages if agriculture is disrupted, job losses. Those impacts could ripple outwards globally too, especially if a conflict dragged on.
Okay, so bringing it down to the individual level,
Well-
why should someone listening, maybe far away from South Asia, really care about this?
Well, because like we said, we're all connected now. Geopolitics isn't some abstract game. It can affect the price you pay for gas, the apps on your phone, if tech supply chains get hit, maybe even online work opportunities. It has indirect but very real impacts.
And more importantly, the human cost. We can't forget that. Soldiers, their families, civilians caught in the middle. The suffering is immense on both sides.
Exactly. It's vital to remember that behind the headlines and the nationalist rhetoric online, there are real people enduring loss, fear, and trauma. That human dimension should always be front and center.
So for you listening, what's the takeaway? What can you do?
Stay informed, definitely, but be critical. Seek out reliable, balanced sources. Try to avoid the sensationalism that often surrounds conflict.
Support peace-building efforts if you can.
Yes, there are organizations working on the ground promoting dialogue, and if you have connections to the region, maybe encourage cross-border conversations, understanding. Online communities can be bridges, not just battlegrounds.
And remember that peace isn't passive. It takes effort. It means thinking critically, having empathy, trying to see other perspectives, even when it's hard.
Couldn't agree more. Peace requires active engagement, challenging assumptions, seeking common ground. It's hard work, but essential.
Let's touch quickly on what the rest of the world is saying. Any surprises?
Not really so far. The UN has issued the standard call for restraint. The U.S. is talking about strategic patience, which basically means watching closely, being cautious.
And China.
A typically cautious statement about wanting stability in the region, firm but vague enough to keep options open.
And meanwhile, elsewhere online, you see this bizarre thing where serious conflict gets turned into memes or quick takes.
Yeah, it's a strange phenomenon. Sometimes it feels like the gravity gets lost when complex situations are reduced to viral content. Trivializes the suffering, perhaps.
But there are other voices too, right? Activists, scholars, even veterans from both India and Pakistan who are calling for calm, for dialogue.
Yes, and those are the voices we really need to listen to and amplify. People who understand the reality on the ground, who know the cost, and are pushing for peaceful solutions against the tide of nationalism.
So let's wrap this up. Tying back to the start, could this spark World War III? Still feels unlikely as a direct trigger. But the real dangers, they're not just about missiles and drones, are they?
No, the real dangers are miscommunication, dehumanizing the other side, and a failure of diplomatic will. Those are the things that allow conflicts to spiral out of control.
Peace might not make for exciting news alerts, but it's ultimately what saves lives.
It's the only rational goal, isn't it? It might seem unglamorous compared to conflict, but it's where genuine progress lies.
Let's really hope rational thinking wins out here and keep talking about these complex issues. Understanding is always the first step.
Absolutely. Continuing the dialogue, looking at the nuances, that's crucial for all of us.
Well, thanks for this deep dive today on Andy and Anna Talks. If you found this useful, maybe share it with someone. These conversations matter.
And remember, the more we understand about our complex world, the better equipped we are to navigate it.
The world's complicated, but hopefully your understanding is a bit clearer now. We'll catch you next time.